Okay, now it's time to wind our bobbin. First things first, let's turn on our machine. Power switch is right here. So you'll hear a little whirring sound at the beginning. That should be normal for this model. Now take an empty bobbin and place it on the spindle up here. Push it down. Now we'll need to place our spool of thread on the spool pin here. If you have a cross-wound spool like this one, you'll see the crisscross motion of the threads there. You can either place it on the horizontal spool pin or the vertical spool pin. Now if you have a stacked spool of thread like this one, which just goes horizontal like that, this can only be placed on the vertical spool pin. So for this tutorial, I'm going to use this cross-wound spool. I've also got my foam pad attached to the end here, and that just kind of keeps my spool of thread in place there and prevents any like rattling noises. And I've got the appropriate size disc according to the diameter of my spool. All right, so that should be good. First things first, let's bring our thread to the back hook, so the first point of our threading. This is the first point for both bobbin winding and regular threading for our needle also. So just take a little bit of thread and hook it at the back. Then follow the directions of the arrow for bobbin winding. Take your thread round the pre-tension stud up here and follow the arrow. Next, manually wind the bobbin 2 to 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And cut off any excess. On this one, there's a thread cutter right over there. And the reason why we're winding it manually 3 times is so that it has something to hold on to. Now you're ready to engage the threader. And to do that, just push this pin towards the bobbin. So this is an automatic bobbin threader. Once it's full, it will stop on its own. Some machines will require you to push down on the pedal to activate the bobbin winder, whereas this one, it should stop automatically when it's full, and it just did it there. Okay, now let's cut the thread using the thread cutter here once more and remove the bobbin. Now we've got our bobbin wound. Let's place this into our machine. First, open the door. And to take the bobbin case out of the machine, pull the lever to unlock and release so that you can pull it off the machine like so and remove the existing bobbin. This is your bobbin case. It's got a little finger that sticks up over there and a lever that flaps out when pushed. And you've got your bobbin, your fully wound bobbin right here. Now for this particular machine, there is a certain way to assemble your bobbin case. It'll be similar to other models and other brands, but it's always best to look through your machine's instructions to see how it is properly done. But for this model, for the BERNINA 335, in order to assemble your bobbin case, just hold the two mechanisms like so, and insert the bobbin so that the thread runs clockwise. So this is where your thread is. Okay, and then place it into the case. Now take your thread tail, and you can see I've put my thumb down so that it doesn't continuously rotate as I pull my thread tail. So take your thread tail and guide it to that tiny slot right there. Bring your thread to that channel, that slot, and then underneath this metal plate that hugs the exterior of the bobbin case, and pull it through until it lies in the T shape. So if I place it upside down like this, it sort of looks like a T. So place it in that opening. And there you go. And to make sure that you have assembled correctly, pull the thread, pull your thread tail to check that your bobbin turns clockwise. And it's turning clockwise. Well done. Note that these instructions are specific to this model. Though most bobbins are assembled similarly, it is still important to look through your machine's manual for exact instructions to your machine. Now that I've put together our bobbin into the bobbin case, let's insert the bobbin case back into the machine. Now hold your bobbin case onto its latch, and it's just by putting your fingers in between like so. This should point outwards now. Insert your bobbin case into the opening area there with the finger pointing upwards, and it should rest on an opening inside. You can see that there's a black plastic metal ring here and an opening right where the tip of my finger is. That's where this finger should rest. So with the latch in between your fingers, place your bobbin in and make sure that sits in snug into there. And it should click in place. So you'll also just pull your thread tail just to make sure that your bobbin has some resistance when you pull and not exactly loose. So if you feel some resistance, that's great. If there isn't, then that means, so if you don't feel any resistance or it's too tight, then you may have wounded your bobbin incorrectly or assembled your bobbin incorrectly. So this has a bit of tension. That's perfect. Now I've pulled quite a bit of tail here, and I don't need all of that. However, you'll need some to leave into your machine. And some sewing machines will have a thread cutter nearby, and usually that dictates how much thread that you'll need to leave inside. So I'm just going to use that to snip off my excess thread. And we can shut the door. Okay, so we're one step closer to starting our first stitch. But before I proceed, I just wanted to make a note that some machines will need you to bring the thread tail up, whereas this model doesn't require you to do so. So last we did was we've just trimmed off the excess tail, and there's some here. I'll show you. And all it needs to do for it to be ready is to have a little bit of thread tail there. And then we have our thread cutters to trim it off. For this model, it stays put right there. However, for other machines, you will need to bring this tail up to the surface to start. And let me just show you that really quickly. Okay, to bring your thread tails up, you'll need your upper thread threaded also, and I'll show you that in a moment. But to bring your thread tails, your bobbin thread tails up, hold on to the top thread tail with your left fingers, just enough here. I have about 5 inches right here. Don't hold it taut, just loosely. And what we'll do next is with your right hand, using the hand wheel, rotate it towards you or counterclockwise to bring the needle down. All right, so it hasn't fully brought the tail up yet, so this is why we have our fingers holding on to the upper thread tail, because you'll see at the bottom over there that it's caught the bottom thread. And if you gently pull that, you'll see that the bobbin thread emerges. And this is where it's handy to have a pair of tweezers or something that can help bring your thread tails together. And that's how you bring your thread tails up. And you can just gently pull so that you have some slack there to start with. I would keep the tails about 3 to 5 inches length, so that's a little bit long. And on the side here, there's a thread cutter also. And once you snip it off, your thread just stays put up there. And it's a way for it to hold on to the thread tails for you too.